We turn to Weijia Jiang at the White House, and I'm glad we are able to do so, Weijia, because late this afternoon, the New York Times broke a story that says President Trump is requesting, or will soon request of the Justice Department, some $230 million in, the word is, quote, compensation for the cases brought against him. And of course, Weijia, that would be reviewed, that request, by many senior Justice Department officials who, oh, by the way, used to be his personal attorneys.
And Major, that is the oh, by the way, that has so many questioning the validity of what the president is doing here, because as you mentioned, many of the officials working in the Justice Department, including the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, either represented the president himself or those in his orbit. Blanche was one of the president's former personal attorneys. And as you well know, Major, President Trump has long aired grievances about investigations into his conduct, and now he is apparently formalizing them in this form of an administrative claims process that is typically a precursor to lawsuits. And you're right, he is asking for $230 million linked to the investigation into Russia interference in the 2016 presidential election, as well as searches of his Mar-a-Lago resort down in Florida for documents that may have been taken out of here when he left office, when they shouldn't have been. Of course, that case was ultimately thrown out when he won the presidency back. And Major, just a short few moments ago, the president was asked about this in the Oval Office, and he sort of made a joke and said, yeah, it's a lot of money, and said he would probably give it to charity. But that still has no clarity, offers no clarity about this potential conflict of interest, because it is those very Justice Department officials who now have the authority to authorize this payment or not.
That is a story we will keep a very, very sharp eye on, Weijia. Also, I want to bring to your attention, and our audiences as well, Vice President J.D. Vance in Israel. And he said this today about what's going on in terms of the stability of the ceasefire negotiated by President Trump. Let's listen.
Things are going, frankly, better than I expected. Every time that there's an act of violence, there's this inclination to say, oh, this is the end of the ceasefire. This is the end of the peace plan. It's not the end. It is, in fact, exactly how this is going to have to happen when you have people who hate each other, who have been fighting against each other for a very long time. We are doing very well. We are in a very good place.
But, of course, the vice president went there in an effort, it seems, Weijia, to stabilize things and get a better read that he can convey back to the president about what is or isn't working.
That's right, Major, and to send a very clear message that the U.S. wants this ceasefire to remain in place, that the U.S. strongly supports it and expects all parties to comply with it. Because remember, this is a crowning jewel for the president when it comes to his foreign policy. It was a priority, and the last thing he wants is for it to fall apart. And that is exactly why the vice president is there, along with the chief negotiators that we saw in the frame with him, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, who brokered this deal directly with Hamas, again, because they do not want this thing to fall apart. But when asked for specifics, Major, for dates about when the remaining hostages would be returned, for when Hamas might disarm, Vance was unable to provide those details, although he did say if Hamas doesn't comply with the deal, very bad things are going to happen, Major.
Weijia Jiang at the White House. Always a pleasure. Thank you so very, very much.